Have you been feeling like your builds are too weak and you need a change of pace from the normal stuff in Division 2? Then you're going to love what I'm about to tell you. Before I give you my first impression review from the public test server and early play test I had, let me tell you what the new game mode Descent actually is. Firstly, the game mode is called Descent, not Descent. So it's a new game mode in Division 2, which is really similar to a roguelike mode, where you start with nothing and you build your character up while being limited to one life only. You start off choosing one weapon and one skill out of 3 choices each. Then you get started with clearing different rooms. You get to choose between different difficulties, so easy, normal and hard, and each room will award you talents, and as you can see here on the rooms, they do give you different talent category. Later on, you will be introduced to exotic talents, which comes from the arena. The first time you do it, you will be guaranteed one. Later on, it will just be a random chance. The more you progress, the more talents, skills, and stuff you can combine, leading to a crazy power fantasy. If you're familiar with the Division 1, think a little bit of survival game mode meeting underground, and it's group only, which means you won't see any other people there unless they are in your group, and of course PvE only. That's kinda what Descent is. The cool thing with this though is that you have all the exotic talents from all the weapons, but now you can get the talents so they work on every gun. For example, I was running Chatterbox talent that gave me crazy RPM on an LMG and Vector. And on top of that, the more you progress, the more exotic talents you can combine, which makes it even crazier. I never played it that long though, but eventually you can have 6 max talents of defensive talents, offensive, and 6 of utility as well, and 3 exotic ones. The normal talents going up all the way to level 10. So for example, you will have like the normal glass cannon, it works normally, but then there's also extra tiers on them if you upgrade them, which later on when you spec a lot into it will make it just crazy. And I personally think that is what makes Descent a really fun mode, the crazy power fantasy. Because I feel like overall in the Division 2, you don't really feel as OP as you could do back in Division 1. But in Descent, you can feel insanely OP, and that was something that was always really fun in the Division. So I had really fun with this power fantasy and all the new stuff with the exotics, and honestly, I would love to see this type of power fantasy to become its own mode somehow in the normal game. Think more like the hardcore mode where you play like the full game, but you would have this crazy power fantasy. I think that would be really interesting, and not only being limited to this game mode. Something else a lot of people asked me was about the rewards. You will be getting experience for playing this mode, even though it was not activated during the PTS. On top of that, you will get currency that you can use outside of the mode. I would assume this would be similar to how it is in Countdown, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And then we have difficulty, and talking about Countdown earlier, I did notice that it was way too easy in my opinion, so kind of similar to how Countdown released. Not that extremely easy though, but still like on the easier side. Despite this one having 3 different difficulties to choose from in terms of rooms. So once again, I feel like a player like myself is being reminded that we are not the target audience for this game anymore, which is fine and expected, but it would be cool if they would have some challenge content, especially when in this mode and Countdown, for example, they could just easily have more difficulties with steeper differences between them instead of just aiming to be too easy. Descent reminded me a lot of the Resistance game mode back in Division 1. And one of the main issues with the Resistance back then is that it started super slow. Like the first 20 to 30 minutes felt like a waste of time, and I felt that kind of way here as well, even though it was not as bad. It's so much time spent just running and like getting like started. Like it felt really slow paced, which is kinda what the Division 2 is, but I think this game mode could have and would work better with a faster pace than the other content because it would just make more sense here. You can clear a room faster than 10 seconds and then you just pick one talent and you go to the next room. I would love to see bigger rooms with more NPCs to clear instead, so you would spend more of the time actually fighting instead of running, and then they could just give you more talents from clearing the room because it took longer. So an easy way to fix this would be to just have higher differences in the difficulties, so it's more about fighting than just running if that's what you want. If you want it to be easy, you can choose the easy room, and I think that is just a win-win for everybody. The different rooms are pretty good looking, especially compared to the Summit game mode that looked really bad and rushed. Like here we can actually see some really top-notch division quality. However, they are just too small in my opinion, at least most of them. The arena maps are a bit bigger, but even though they are bigger, they don't have that much NPCs at all that you fight at the same time, which is what I dislike the most. I would have loved to have more NPCs to fight and bigger maps when it comes to the room, thinking more like how it was in Underground game mode in Division 1. I was personally hoping for something more like that or survival, but it would be PvE only. So because of that, I personally think the replayability is not where I would like it to be. I was expecting this to be something I could be running a crazy amount of times, but that was before I actually played it. Now after playing just for a few hours, I'm already familiar with a lot of the small rooms, and it feels like too much running and too little gunning. On top of that, it was way too easy, which for myself is a big issue because I start zoning out and eventually I'm just playing on autopilot, leading up to me dying to something completely unnecessary and not hard because I'm not paying attention anymore because I'm just low-key bored. And now I have to restart the run because I died, which of course is my own fault. But with that said, I can see a lot of casual people, which is the main target audience for the game, not having the time to spend for this mode. Like it's a huge investment to play because the level goes infinity, and to kind of complete the run, it takes like 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes, which is kind of crazy. And then of course you would like to continue, but now you have to go offline because you have work tomorrow. Then you have to restart the whole thing. I would honestly like to see some type of checkpoint system for this reason, at least so you can log out and continue the next day. But hell, even having a weekly checkpoint in case you die would probably be cool too. Because personally, I think the Descent starts getting interesting after you invest like the first hour into it. And like that's a lot of time to invest every time just to get it started. And of course, if you have a checkpoint system or something like that, you could take away that from the leaderboard and like have a special thing for the leaderboard. But for me personally, like I can't see myself playing this mode too many times. It might be fun to do some challenges, however, with viewers and like some crazy stuff and like try some obnoxious bad builds to see just how long it can go. But playing it normally, I personally don't see it. And on top of that, it doesn't have any special achievements or unique rewards that we heard of so far. Maybe they will add that later, but I do doubt it. In terms of bugs and glitches, there is a few ones that make you have to restart the run completely. So you can be hours and hours in and then you get a bug and now you have to start from the beginning. One of them is that you get stuck in between rooms while moving since the door automatically closes. Another thing I ran into that is actually not a bug, but when you clear the arena and you get back to the simulation, there is a thing you can interact on, like a button. And I was zoned out multiple times and I just hold F because that's like what it told me. And that will instantly depart you from the simulation without a confirmation or anything like that. So this happened to me a few times and it was extremely frustrating. But I'm pretty sure they will add a confirmation to that before it launches though. I don't know why this didn't have that. But other than that, I can't really recall anything else, so not that much to worry about, so should be easily to fix those at least. So to summarize and conclude the video, the Descent mode is not really what I expected. While the Power Fantasy is extremely good and is kinda carrying the mode and I'm loving it, The rest feels kinda mediocre, and definitely I think the game mode overall do need more time, because otherwise it's just gonna end up being another mediocre Division game mode. But I'm pretty certain it's gonna be released very soon and be super similar to what we played during this PTS, sadly. I still think it's a good addition to the game though, and it is a good change of pace from the normal game. I just personally wish there was a bit more fleshed out and bigger in terms of like maps and less running, as I went through earlier. I would still recommend you guys to check it out though, and maybe, just maybe, I'm wrong and I will be playing this hundreds of times on release. Well, at least we can hope so. Make sure you let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about the new game mode Descent. If you made it this far in the video, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next YouTube video.